Hello, everyone, and welcome to the conclusion of CenterFrame's autumn funding round. My name is Bernard Pucher, and I'm the CEO and co-founder of CenterFrame. Thank you very, very much for joining us. Basically, I just want to say up front, before we get into anything further else, we are streaming live on multiple platforms: YouTube, LinkedIn, Instagram. No, not Instagram, Facebook. I was on Instagram earlier, and on Twitter, etc., etc. So wherever you are, make sure you drop a comment, you join the chat, you say where you're from, say where you're hailing from. We'd love to hear who's tuning in. We definitely want to hear from all the filmmakers that have participated in this competition. So please let us know. Say where you are, say where you're watching from. I'd love to hear from you. And also, if you're on CenterFrame.com, thank you very much for going to our website. Feel free to sign up to a newsletter if you haven't yet. And of course, any members that are already there, thank you very much for joining us. But yeah, if you want to leave a comment, if you want to participate, you can join us on our social channels and leave your comment there. Anyways, as I said, my name is Bernard Pucher. I am the CEO and co-founder of CenterFrame, and I'm being joined by my illustrious team of filmmakers, team scribblers, script club hosters, Nathan Haynes, Luke Foster, and Ariana Stegman. Coming up here, join me on the feed, please. What are you doing, Nathan? What's going on?
It's not working.
Hello. Here we are. How's it going? All right, you're back.
Hey B, how you doing? I don't know what happened there. I was like hitting the button, boom, bang, bang, just wasn't going anywhere.
Well, we rehearsed it. It worked fine then, and of course, as it goes, things go wrong when they do. But anyways, thank you very much for joining me, guys. How are you guys doing? How's this whole journey? So now that this journey is coming to a conclusion, it's now the second time we've had a proper funding round in this thing. How are you guys feeling about it? Nathan, tell me how it was for you, this whole thing.
Yeah, really good. We had we had really very many submissions, just shy of 50 films. And I thought it might be good to give you some stats actually whilst I'm here. So as you know, this time round we are funding in production and then development and festival funding, and collectively across the two production categories, we had 15 for any genre, and then 13 for the horror only genre. So that's really exciting. And then we had another 10 films submitted in the development category and 8 in festival funding. So really a good number of films that we've got here tonight.
Yeah, that's really awesome. It's a really, really strong selection. Oh, I think we lost Ariana there. One sec. And she's back. There we go.
We're all getting used to the new tool, basically, aren't we, Bernard?
Switch Wi-Fi.
Yeah, I think the Wi-Fi is being dodgy on that one. But yeah, so that's really cool. Any sort of information on how many countries and from where all these different submissions came?
That's probably an Ariana question, I think, isn't it?
It is a Luis question. He isn't here because he is looking after his 2 very young children. Couldn't join us this evening. I have no idea, actually. I can tell you about how many submissions we had and how they're spread across the different categories. How they're spread across the globe, I'm afraid I don't know.
One thing is definitely true, and it's good to know, is the fact that this time round it wasn't so European centric, was it? We had films from the continent of Africa and all over the place.
Yeah, exactly. No, that's been really, really exciting. It's like that we had a really nice wide range of submissions from all sorts of different countries. I honestly thought you had those numbers, Nathan. I thought we had sort of discussed that because normally Luis has them. So I guess something got lost there in the way. But all good, no worries. So let's move on, shall we? So yeah, Luke. By the way, do you want to say something about Script Club while we're at it? What's the next episode coming up?
Well, I'm always happy to do a quick plug when I get an opportunity. So, it's obviously Script Club's a monthly event. We have a deep dive discussion with other screenwriters from around the world, actually, about a produced screenplay. And week on Wednesday, the 15th, is that right? We're going to be discussing the screenplay for Get Out. So,
Get
which
Out.
we have to collect tickets for at the moment. So I'm very much looking forward to that.
So yeah, if you haven't been to a script club yet, you definitely need to go. Make sure you we're hosting it on Eventbrite this time around. So if you go to Eventbrite, you look up CenterFrame, and also check out our emails. I know we've sent you an invite already. If not, definitely sign up to our newsletter. Definitely check out our social media, especially Instagram. We're saying a lot about it on Instagram, but also on Twitter as well. Make sure you go to our social medias and check out how to join Script Club, and Get Out is definitely worth being part of as well. So that's enough plugging now. I'm pretty sure we've got a bunch of anxious filmmakers waiting for us to tell them who's getting funded. So but let's start. Let's get on with it. So to begin with, what awards are we talking about? What are the exact amounts? So we've got development funding for TV pilots and feature scripts at £2,000 per script. We've got festival funding at £2,000 per short film. We've got production funding for horror and fantasy films at £12,000 per film. The top film of that will get the funding. And then production funding for any genre is also £12,000 per film. So a total of £40,000 made available to our members and to basically help get their projects off the ground. Actually, Nathan, why don't you join us back on screen for a little bit, because we've got a little bit of housekeeping to take care of. So why don't you run us through the rules for a minute?
Oh, always the exciting bit, the rules. Okay, so right, so as you can see on the screen, we've got some basic rules here. So obviously, if you're lucky enough to win a grant with us, you're going to be either going to be in production or you're going to be in development or festival. And there are different agreements depending on which category you're in, right? But by and large, one of the universal truths is about a week after this, you're going to get the award agreement, probably from me. And you'll need to complete that within 2 months. In the past, we've let it be a bit longer, but really we need to make these windows tight because we want to get these films made and funded and get our community to see these films. So you need to complete the award agreement within 2 months. And after that, if you're in the production category, you'll need to actually make the film and to be completed within 6 months. That's really important, right? So the films have got to be completed in that length of time. Not to be too heavy-handed about it or anything, but if the award agreement isn't completed within 2 months, it'll go to the runner-up, because there's plenty of people that want funding and we just need to get these films made. So please complete the agreement within 2 months. Try not to dither if you can. Then make the film within 6. Now, of course, if you're going for festival funding or you're getting development funding, you don't have anything to necessarily complete within 6 months. But we would expect you to have. There are some marketing deliverables that we ask for, and we would expect the work to have started in earnest in either festival distribution or actually the writing of the screenplay. How will you get the money from us? That's probably the number one question we get when people find out they've won an award from us. How are we going to get the money? And there are generally 2 ways we do it. Lump sum grant is typically how we do production. That said, you can actually have access to up to 20% of your award in advance of a shoot date to cover some upfront costs. But then the rest is transferred on the day. You have to send us a picture of you guys on set with the equipment and everything ready to go. And we transfer the rest. We do transfer a small little bit beforehand anyway, just to make sure there's no delays with the money moving on the day of photography. And that is lump sum grants. If you're in development or you're in festival, you'll also have the option for services rendered. So if you're in festivals, you've got to pay for all the different festivals as and when. What happens is they bill us and we pay it on your behalf. So that's how that really works.
Yeah, and just to clarify, if you have a short film that you want to send to festivals and actually need to get a DCP made, DCPs also fall into festival funding. So it's not just submissions to festivals or anything like that. But if you want to get an EPK made, an electronic press kit, or if you want to get your DCP created for festivals, that can also be paid for using the festival funding. All right.
Very quickly before we move on, something we meant to mention in the beginning is we've got this chat function, right? So if you leave your comments, they'll come up to the screen. Let's make this interactive. I know it's an event where we're delivering info to you, but let us know that you're there. Tell us what you're thinking. cheer for your friends if you see someone you know getting funding.
Absolutely. Absolutely. We definitely want to hear from you. Let us know that you're there, that you're watching, and then we will give you a shout out as well, especially if there's a winner amongst you guys. So, all right. So shall we get going? Let's move on to the very first category of the funded projects of the autumn funding round in 2023. What's up first? Which category are we doing first? We are doing development funding first. So if you've had a script in this whole thing, you will find out now whether you will get £2,000 to develop your screenplay. So first up, the project to receive development funding is Rustic Rachel by Will Nash. Will, congratulations to you. In fact, we've known Will Nash for a little bit. He was actually part of our Get It Made UK competition from a little while ago. So congratulations, Will. Ariana, do you want to chime in here? You're the food project kind of person. So do you want to tell us a bit what Rustic Rachel is all about?
Well, first, I think we should also mention the person who wrote it, who is my in this one. I think Will joined him as director-producer. You hear me? My connection is a bit dodgy. Anyway, so this is for a TV pilot, which they're hoping to be commissioned to write this whole series for. It's about a food show host, I'm assuming in her 40s or 50s, and she's being told the show's about to be cancelled. She, being a woman, my age, is possibly ill.
Oh, I think your connection is dying really hard there, Ariana. Luke, I'm going to have to hand this one to you, unfortunately.
Yeah, I mean, I think as Ariana was saying, there is a pilot for a TV show, comedy series. I think it's about a kind of Delia Smith-like celebrity TV chef who's trying to make sure that her cooking show stays on the air along with her team, and they have to make some changes to try and update it a little bit, bring in more kind of vegan cooking, more modern day type cooking. Yeah, really kind of nice, really nice look at both, both sort of behind the scenes of a celebrity show. It reminded me a little bit of almost I think like Alan Partridge and 30 Rock, where you kind of see people both sides of the camera, where you see what's going on in terms of people trying to produce a show and appeal to commissioners and keep it on air. And yeah, I think I know they've kind of written a draft pilot already, which is part of the submission. It'd be great to see now they've got development funding, how this project really develops. Yeah,
I think it's really interesting. I think also it's really exciting to see a TV project on this, because obviously we've had by far more film submissions than we've had TV. So this is really exciting that that a TV project was chosen. I think that's really, really cool. So let's move on to the next one, shall we? Next project is A Serious House by Henry Fish. Tell us a little bit more about that, Luke.
Yeah, this is a feature film. It's a horror drama. It's set in the 14th century. It's about a priest whose congregation all die of the plague, which is afflicting the community. And as punishment for the fact that all his congregation die, the priest is sent to go and look after an abandoned old kind of church. But while he's there trying to tend to this church on his own, he starts being haunted by ghosts and the undead, who are then encouraging him to join them. It's got a very kind of almost reminded me a lot in a very good way of Robert Eggers' movies, of things like The Witch and The Lighthouse. It almost is like The Witch meets The Lighthouse, really. Again, they've done a draft script, but yeah, it'd be great. I think it's a really interesting project. Could be quite creepy and scary, and very interesting to see how they're able now they've got the funding to develop the script.
Yeah, it sounds really cool. I mean, I love Robert Eggers' movies, and I think The Witch is one of my favorite films of the past sort of 20 years, really. So it's absolutely one of, especially horror films. I absolutely loved it. So, Ariana, you are back. I'm guessing you had to relocate for the Wi-Fi, unfortunately, right?
Yes. Let's see if this works better.
Yeah, let's see.
It's very, very stormy, and I don't know why in this day and age, but stormy weather F's with my Wi-Fi. Pardon my French.
All right. Shall we get on to the next project?
Yes, please.
All right. And the next one to receive funding, but congratulations, Henry. Well done.
Mm.
Oh, oh no.
Ooh, sneaky peek.
Oh no. Okay, that was a little bit much. But anyways, Peppo Kali by Lydia Matata.
Oh,
Well
fantastic.
done. Congratulations. That is one of my favorite projects that I saw come across. It's a relatively late entry too, but the moment I saw it, I was like, this is a great, great, great story. I really, really love this one. I'm so glad that the community agreed. Ariana, tell us a bit more about it.
So it's by Lydia Matata. She's a filmmaker, a very exciting filmmaker from Kenya. So it's all set in Nairobi amongst the female biker gangs or biker groups. I don't know if gangs is the appropriate term. But it's basically a woman in her 50s or 60s who was picking up motorcycling and joining those groups after she lost her daughter, who was a biker in those groups, for an accident. So she had a riding accident. She lost her daughter. And that's her way of coping with the loss, with the grief, with the uncertainty. She sort of tries to immerse herself in what was her daughter's world and community. And she struggles to pick this high-risk sport in a rather later age and to join a community by large younger than she is. It's a very, very interesting journey, a very compelling story, really interesting visuals. I understand the writer, Lydia, she's picked up motorcycling as research for writing this. I'm really glad it's going to become something. I really hope so.
I agree. As I thought the premise for this was really strong, and obviously this is Kenya. Obviously, also has a very strong film industry, and I'm glad that that especially also that a project from the African continent has made it on here.
Yeah.
That is really, really exciting. So, Zamarine, congrats! A great message from her. So yeah, it's a really, really fantastic story. I absolutely love it, and I'm glad to see that it's going to get developed, and I'm hoping to see even more things coming out. So yeah, congratulations. So now let's move on to the next project. Sorry for the spoiler there earlier for anybody who doesn't know. I kind of screwed that one up. Last one in the development funding, The Feast, another food movie for you, Ariana.
Yay. Fantastic. Lots for me to
I'll let you talk about this one as well.
Okay, so this is from Egypt, an Egyptian writer called Marwan Imam. And basically, it's a chef who is planning a very elaborate 5-course meal as he tries to impress an investor, hopefully so he can set up a new restaurant after he lost his previous restaurant to the COVID pandemic. And as he's, very nervously, anxiously starting to prepare to cook, there's a knock on the door, and it is his 15-year-old estranged daughter, the daughter who he abandoned in this quest and this very adventurous, unusual lifestyle he's been leading. Not just a chef, apparently he was on a drug smuggling yacht and stuff like that. And leading his adventurous life, he abandoned his wife and daughter, and now she's there. And this is sort of a last-ditch effort to rekindle a relationship, to establish some sort of father-daughter relationship here. But of course, the timing couldn't be worse. And understand that this 5-course meal, each of these courses represent a stage in this man's, the chef's life, a woman's life, such as his mother, his ex-wife, his current partner, his daughter. So it's all sort of a story through food, which is an idea I've always loved. And I hope they can pull it off. It looks delicious.
It sounds like it's a very contained story, mostly set in this one dinner, in this one evening, and I love those kinds of movies. It's one of my favorite things when you have contained thrillers, contained dramas, and especially if it's your first or your second feature, it's the perfect premise to have something like that. I always recommend people try and see. It's not easy to write. It's difficult to write. You need the right premise to make it work, but this is awesome. And also, I know you'll watch it, right? I definitely know the moment this comes out, it's definitely you.
Obviously.
Absolutely. All right. Well, congratulations to all the 4 recipients here. Rustic Rachel by Will Nash. And sorry, what was the other, the writer's name?
God, my brain is
No, I'm blanked. I'm blanked as you did. Anyways, congratulations to Rustic Rachel, a serious
Oliver Mayo. Sorry.
Yes, exactly. Congratulations to Rustic Rachel, Serious House, Peppo Kali, and The Feast. We can't wait to see how these projects develop, and we will do our best to make sure everybody hears about it as these projects keep going. So well done, everyone. Well done. So next up is festival funding in this autumn round. £2,000 per film to basically submit your short film to festivals. Basically, as I said earlier, you can do your EPK with this. You can do your DCP with this. So if you have a graphics designer or a post house or anything like that that needs to finish the film to be able to get it into festivals, that's basically what this is for, plus the submission fees and potentially also to go. So if you actually get into festival, this can help you get there. All right, so without further ado, let's look at the projects that are going to receive the funding. First up is, a classic, Crust. Yes, a good old friend, this one. Congratulations, Ben and Alfie. Ben and Alfie were also part of our Get It Made UK competition. Crust is a fantastic film. We actually saw it not long ago at a screening here in London. It's a really, really fantastic film. So well done. It was a great script. Luke, actually tell us a little bit about the script, because you were part of the selection when the scripts first got chosen in Get It Made UK. So tell us about it. What was the experience receiving it, etc.?
Yes, and obviously Cross was the winner of our Get It Made competition, and they got the highest rating when we were doing the initial script submission stage, and then obviously then went on to win the actual competition itself. If anyone hadn't, I'm very, very familiar with it, but Cross is it's basically about a grieving widower and her family. She's lost her husband, and she goes along with her family, her mother and her children, to her deceased husband's grave. But they all bring like this kind of particular kind of sandwich that he was known for kind of making, so they can all sit there and eat it while they're at the grave. But then they all start sort of arguing a little bit, and the son in particular has some things to say about this whole situation, and sort of, but he ends up having his own nice little kind of moment of reconciliation with his father, all while sort of enjoying this or not enjoying maybe even this kind of sandwich.
Horrible sandwich.
It was a great script. It turned into a great film. Alfie did a fantastic job directing it, and they found an amazing location to film it in. As I said, I am very, very proud to have been part of this project, to be able to support it through CenterFrame, and that it got selected, and that our networking event helped put these people together. All of this happened the way it did, and that the film is now here, and that now the community, when they saw the film, actually really likes it and said, now this has got to go to festivals. Like this, to me, just shows the good stuff gets made. So this is really, really exciting. So I'm very, very happy for Crust. Well done, guys. Well done. All right, next one. Let's see if there's anything else. We just heard from Lorna. She said,
yes.
Congratulations, Lorna, I must say. Your project was also part of Get It Made, same competitions, well done. We actually saw this film not long ago as well, but we saw a cut of it, right, Ariana?
No, we saw the whole thing. I think it was only missing a bit of sound editing, but
okay,
pretty much the done deal. Beautiful.
It was I remember it being mostly finished. I'm really happy with this film. It was a great pitch, one of the best pitches of the Get It Made competition, and now that it is part of the festival funding as well is really, really cool. So congratulations, Lorna. This is also a genuinely great film. Why don't you give us a quick rundown of what the film is, Ariana?
Well, it's the woman. Well, we're in widowhood again, and again a woman of a certain age. So she's lost her husband of many years, I think 8 years previous or 6 years previous to when the film is set. And she's basically trying or hoping to find love again. But at the same time, she's terrified of this prospect. She was first with this person for many years and sort of alone for many years. And those dating, romantic muscles are just kind of gone. And it's a very scary prospect, but we see her sort of meeting a bunch of guys that she's being set up with, and she's sending them all away for various reasons. But a friend of hers is desperately trying to get her to, like, I hope this is not vulgar, to get back on the horse and give love a second chance. And it's a beautiful, beautiful, heartwarming story. And I want to kick myself. I can't remember the name of the lead role, the lead lady. She's amazing.
It says here, Gabrielle Tamsin Althwaite.
Yes, that's the one.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah, thankfully it says it nice big on my poster here, which is very helpful. No, it is a genuinely heartwarming, touching little film, and what touches me even more so is that this is Lorna's first short film.
Yeah.
And that she was able to meet up with a really stellar director in Oz Arshad, and that this film is now getting the support from us as well, from the CenterFrame community, I must say, not just from us, to basically get the film out there is really, really cool. So I'm glad that these projects can have a life. And again, so if you haven't had a film made yet, this is the perfect example of what a good journey can be. Somebody's part of it, never made a short film before, suddenly finds themselves, meeting the right people and having a great pitch. And I have to say, a prime example of what makes a stellar pitch. So if you, and two stellar pitches actually. So well done, Lorna, for that one. All right, let's move on. Next project. Why Are You Sad, Mother by Parvana Haidar and Zamarin Madat. We actually just heard it a second ago. That film is, I think, a spectacular film. It was written very well. It was directed very well, and talks about such I don't have the same immigrant experience, but I can relate. I can relate to it so well, feeling outside of something, And when you have refugee on top of that and things like that, it's a very, very powerful story. Luke, do you want to talk about it a little bit?
Yeah, I mean, it's about a mother-daughter who are estranged. They've also both been displaced from their own country, and are living in, I think it's not in Europe, and have become a little bit separated from each other. But yeah, it's a very beautiful movie. It's very it's a sort of 5-6 minute short, shot in black and white. I think the filmmaker is a cinematographer, and you can really tell it's really beautifully shot. And it's really I thought it was a very nice way of showing that when you've got a short film, particularly something that's only, maybe 5-6 minutes, something like that, you can have something that's much more poetic and almost a little bit abstract and surreal, rather than you don't necessarily have a clear, a big traditional narrative. And I think this was a really a strong testament to that. It was just, just almost like a little beautiful little poetic mood piece, I felt.
I agree. It's a very, very poetic film. Really, really lovely. So congratulations, Parvana and Zamarin, for first of all for making this, but also the CenterFrame community thought it was just as great as we do here, and I'm so glad that we're going to help you guys get the film out there. So well done, guys. It's a really, really lovely film. It was a pleasure to watch, and it's a pleasure to be part of its journey. So thank you very much for submitting it. And now one more film we are going to discuss, which is the last one on here. Oops, so I did it wrong. And The Lure. The Lure is that one. I'm glad a horror film made it onto this list. We actually supported The Lure for the CenterFrame Spotlight at Fright Fest. It is easily one of the shortest films I've ever seen, but it is a genuinely great little film, and the perfect idea to basically get it out there. So The Lure was basically part of the CenterFrame Spotlight at Fright Fest, along with 3 other films, which was fantastic. I'm really, really glad that that the film is now going to be supported into the festival circuit later on. So congratulations! I'm glad the horror film made it on here, and yeah, there you go. So that was the festival funding. So well done, guys. Really, really cool. And let's move on to the next category, shall we? Oh, another list. Sorry, I forgot this slide existed. Congratulations to Crusts opening up Why Are You Sad, Mother and The Lure. Well done, guys. They are. And I'm very, very happy that the CenterFrame community thought you guys were great, and So do we. We think you're amazing projects. So next category up. Horror fantasy production funding. Well, actually, with the lure is a great segue into this segment. I didn't even think it was this good of a segue, and then some actually worked really well. So horror fantasy production funding. We created this category specifically for horror and fantasy fans because the request came in. It's like, hey, look, it's horror fantasy just plays differently to more popular genres like comedies or dramas or things like that. So there should be an opportunity to separate them and give horror fantasy their own opportunity to shine amongst themselves and be compared to that, because comparing a horror film to a comedy is not necessarily appropriate, so by separating it out and having a specific category just for horror films, we thought, you know what, let's see what happens. Let's see how many great projects we can get. And we actually saw quite a few. Like, I have to say, this was a really, really fun selection of projects, I have to admit. So I can't wait. Oh yeah, there's Zamarine. Yeah, seriously, it's really cool. Congratulations again, Zamarine. So now let's get going on. Let's look at the film that will receive our horror fantasy production funding of autumn 2023. And drum roll! Am I doing this? Yeah, everybody, drum roll. Okay, and Grandma is Thirsty. One of those horror films that has a freaking brilliant title. Like, it's sort of in the line of there was another one that we had, which was called a house that's definitely not haunted, which is, it's in the lines of those kinds of titles. I absolutely love those kinds of titles. Super catchy, great poster, and congratulations, Chris, for doing that. Luke, as the horror man among us, why don't you tell us about this project, what you like, and etc.
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, just before that, I mean, obviously, I was very happy that we had a horror category, this time. This round, it was great, and it was great to see so many. We had some really fantastic projects sent in. It was great to see them all. People really went all out on the pitch. I mean, some of the pitch decks were terrifying. There was one, I think it was Hellish, where they put all the imagery upside down. That was just creepy, just to read. And as I say, we had some great titles. I think it was a house for sale that's definitely not haunted.
That's the one.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, Grandma is Thirsty, very, very well deserved. So some great projects, but this one I thought was very, very well deserved to win. So horror, I think I'd call it a horror comedy. It was definitely very kind of, the script particularly was very kind of funny in places, the way it's written. Yeah, it's quick. It's about a 9-year-old boy who's being bullied, and he sort of has his encounter with some bullies in a tunnel. And then these two incredibly creepy twins to convince him that they can help him so he can never be bullied again. And they convince him to go back to home with them, where they've also got their creepy dad sort of also turns up, and this poor young kid is kind of trying to get out of this situation. And they basically tell him that at midnight their grandmother's going to come down and sort of stop him from ever being bullied again. But what it basically means is the grandmothers are going to kind of take his youth from him, and that's how the grandmother is kind of over 600 years old, and this is how the grandmother has been surviving for so long. It's a really quite, just for a short film, it's kind of got a really kind of very straightforward, simple narrative, which is something you want for a short. And I think the plan is to maybe also have this as a teaser for a possible kind of feature as well. So yeah, it'd be great to see this going into production.
Yeah, I really, really enjoyed this project. It also lit up the votes, so it was the overwhelming favorite among the horror fans in our community. Basically, it received more than double the votes of the next one up. So it was a very, very heavy favorite. So I'm very, very happy for Chris and his project. It's a really, really strong one, and I'm glad that we can be part of this film's journey. So I'm really looking forward to seeing this getting made. And especially Chris was talking about having the right scale of practical effects and cinematography and things like that to bring this thing to reality. So it's going to be, I have a feeling it's going to be a very, very fun movie, and I can't wait to see what the behind the scenes were. What's really cool is that also we already had a horror film in the last round with Outside Noise, and that one looks spectacular. So if this is going to be on that level too, then we're on a good run with horror films, I think. I think we've got a really lovely selection here already. I think it's fantastic. Anything you want to add, Ariana?
Well, horror is not my bag, so I think I'll put this one out. I will say this poster is funky. I love the poster.
I agree. I think it's a great.
Really good. I
love it.
Yeah,
and
really
it has brought
I didn't know. I did read the synopsis. I didn't stay out of it completely. It is very cool. It's a classic horror premise, and as Luke said, very contained story, perfect for a short, as a proof of concept. I mean, what can you ask for?
Exactly. All right, congratulations, Chris. Well done. So let's look at the other production funding, which was all genres. So any genre could submit. You could even submit a horror to this one, but I don't think anybody did. I think it was literally all the other genres. Also, £12,000 for the top film. And this one is it's nice that we have a really sort of broad selection of films that were submitted in the whole thing. This is our last one, so I'm gonna just draw this one out a little bit more even, I think. But sorry guys, it's a show thing. You gotta do the show. But I'm really excited that we were able to separate horror films, and that the remaining genres got their own thing and didn't have to fight with horror films over what's better and what's not. And so I think you know what, I'm talking too much. Let's just get into it. Let's just go for it. What is the next film? Okay, Ariana, give us that drum roll. And the winning film is Made from Leak-Proof Plastic by Anastasia Mikhailova. That project also really stuck out to me when it was submitted. I have to say, I really, really loved the story and the premise, and I thought the filmmaker's story as well was also really, really strong. So Ariana, why don't you enlighten us about this one?
There seems to be a running theme about dealing with grief in this entire funding round. So this is also about coping with loss and coping in the stages of grief, but specifically about, well, the pitch of this writer put was very touching about what if specifically you have this upbringing, this culture of not sharing emotions, not loading the people around you with your hurt, with your trouble, and you're sort of forced to deal with it by yourself. And then you don't have these tools to deal with mourning, with grief, but you have to. And it's this journey of this person who's also a widow, again, someone who lost her partner, and is also moving away from the home they shared for many years where they built their lives. And she's trying to distract herself with anything rather than deal with putting his belongings. He was an illustrator, a painter. So anything rather than confronting his drawings and putting them in a box before she moves. And I think what was very special and very beautiful about this project is filmmakers finding a way to manifest those very, very strong battling emotions as ghostly, watery figures that come and sort of haunt her in the home and outside the home. And, the further she tries to run, the closer they become and sort of insist on being recognized and being seen. It's a very beautiful, poetic way of visualizing and manifesting our inner hurt, our inner pain. And I'm surprised. I thought it was a very artistic film. I didn't think it would do very well, not because it's not good, because it's beautiful, absolutely beautiful, but because it's challenging, very challenging. And I'm super, super happy that people found their way to it, because I think it's God, which one of us hasn't had to deal with hurt, with grief? We could all learn to do it better, I guess. So, really beautiful, very special story. I will say, I think making this is probably going to be challenging on the technical side, but that's not my forte, so I'll leave it at that. I hope she knows better than I do, but really, really beautiful story, very compelling.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's a very, very strong story. I think visually it's really quite compelling. Luke, do you want to add anything to about it?
Yeah, I thought this was a beautiful script, really a lovely project. Really interesting mixture of real life and obviously magical realism in the story, but also animation and the film techniques. And I thought what was very interesting. Well, a couple of things was firstly that I know Anastasia from our pitch video talked about how the inspiration for the story came from her real life and how she was dealing with grief herself in her own personal life, and then she took that in as inspiration to kind of write this piece, which I thought was really nice. And then also, but also there's something that could have easily, particularly when you've only got, I think it's about 14, 15 pages. When you only got that short frame of time with this subject matter, it could have very easily been quite heavy and quite, quite a very sort of almost downbeat kind of feel. But
Dreary,
it's
yeah.
quite uplifting, and there are also, there's some really nice moments of humor, even when the main character is going through grief and struggling to process everything at the beginning. She still has little moments of levity, or when she's out kind of tobogganing with her friend and they have a little moment of a nice, fun moment. And I thought, yeah, the way it sort of deals with a wide range of emotions in such a short time frame was really effective, I thought.
Yeah, congratulations. So Patrick has chimed in. He's the producer on this project, if I remember correctly. So yeah, it really is a very, very strong project. We will use the money wisely. That's great. That's really cool. That's good. That's good that it will be used wisely, as you should. I mean, you submitted a budget. I'm sure you gave us the evidence for that. But I'm very excited that this project got made. Also, as she's a Ukrainian filmmaker, so the sort of the Eastern European sort of a stoic nature of keeping your feelings to yourself, keeping them within, and holding them back rather than letting them. And the pitch really very aptly said, grief is letting those emotions leak out. And I thought that was a very, very strong visual to start a pitch with. And one thing that was also very admirable, she says she's clearly not that comfortable putting herself that out there on a pitch video, but she did a spectacular job telling that story, pitching that idea, and made a really, really strong case for this film. So I'm glad that the community saw this too, and that everybody was on board with it. It also performed very well, got a lot of votes from members. It is a very strong script, and it was also a very, very strong pitch. So I think to any future community members who are going to submit in the future, these projects are well worth looking at for how they pitched it, how they got their things off the ground, and it'll be the more. I think Luke and you and I had spoken multiple times about how important it is to make sure that your idea is focused and that it is written to be a short film rather than just be a proof of concept on its own that's supposed to be something larger, or that's just a scene taken from something. The most effective short films are contained stories. They have contained narratives with a contained idea that really aspires for larger thoughts beyond the narrative, and I think that's when the short films work the best, and this is absolutely part of that. Really allows for a great story to be told, even if you're only taking a slice of it. So I think it's really strong, and congratulations to Anastasia and the producers to get this off to get the funding for this, and we can't wait to see. In fact, I think filming is supposed to happen fairly soon on this one, so I'm really, really excited for this to get off the ground. So congratulations, everyone. Much to say. Again, Grandma is Thirsty and made from leak-proof plastic. They are fantastic films. I'm so happy that they're going to get made, and I think we're all very proud that these projects are going to get off the ground. So, congrats everyone to all the filmmakers that received funding in this autumn funding round. Nathan, why don't you come back up here and join this final conversation? We have a couple of things that we actually also need to discuss, I think. So let me turn this off. Congratulations again, everyone, and thank you very much for being part of this whole thing. Everybody that's still here, please don't leave. Please stick around. We have an important announcement to make, actually. So we have we've learned a lot over the past sort of 6-7 months in building this platform and getting members on board, running the funding rounds, creating profiles and stuff like that. There's a lot that has happened that has been really, really informative for us. And so what we're doing now is as some of you may have known, we've run some surveys which helped us inform about what works and what doesn't work and what people want to see and what people want to have and things like that. So we have to do a little bit of a revamping of our site over the next few months. So basically 2 to 3 months, we won't be able to host any funding rounds because, well, it's going to be a bit under construction. The site will still work. You can still use it, but the funding rounds we won't be able to hold. And as part of this whole thing is that we will change our membership plans. We will basically migrate, and you'll get an email sort of highlighting this, but we'll basically migrate everyone from the paid plans that people are on now to the free plan, where you can still do everything. You'll be able to create projects and contact people, message everyone, all that stuff. That none of those things will go away, but we will create new annual memberships, which we will announce fairly soon. You'll get an email about that on Monday, and it'll still have some general information. We will get into the specifics once we actually launch the actual memberships, but they will become annual plans. They won't be monthly plans anymore. But just to calm you down, you'll still be able to apply for funding, but there will be a difference between how much you pay on an annual plan compared to if you pay a single entry fee. But also, our annual plans will also have some exclusive events and some exclusive opportunities to help network, these will also exist for free for the free membership tier, but you will have to pay individual transactions. But the membership plans will have more events, will have more of it to be able to help build filmmakers up to be able to help them be a stepping stone in the future of their careers. But that's all coming in the beginning of next year. It's not happening tomorrow. All right. So just right now, take a deep breath. You've won. You've received your funding. And we will go and fix up the site a bit, make it work a bit better for everyone, and stuff like that. Nathan, do you want to add anything to that?
Yeah, I do. So as B alluded to, we actually ran an extensive survey of the community, and for those of you, I've seen some of the names here of people in the chat that have actually contributed to this survey. So some of you definitely know, but it's been a really fascinating inquisition to understand what that we're doing that people love and what people think we could do better. And we're really keen to make sure that we are delivering to our members a platform that actually helps them advance their career, right? We're not just doing this just to make films. We want people's careers to move in the right direction. So we've taken that on board. And to Bernard's point, right, we are going to be changing up the plans very soon. Anyone who's on a paid plan is going to get moved to the free tier. There's loads of access to that free tier. That's one of the things we learned, is that people want to access things like our funding as and when they want them. They don't necessarily always want to pay a subscription, right? Although that will still be an option, as Bernard says. There's going to be much more written information about this coming out soon, but I just want to let you know that everything we're doing is actually for the benefit of the community, and I think you're all going to see how good it's going to be in the not too distant future.
Yeah, it's going to definitely work better. So Ariana, Luke, is there anything you want to plug? Anything you want to say? Anything you want to add while you're at it? I mean, we've had our mini plugs before, but let's take this opportunity while we still have a few watchers.
I don't have anything to plug.
Luke's next script club is going to be brilliant.
Yes,
it is. Maybe you'll actually get me to Get Out, which they've been
Oh,
trying
it's a
to
great film, Ariana.
4 years. Yes, I'm not good with horror. Definitely not with psychological horror. He's tried a bunch of times. I've always like, no, make it go away. But
Yeah, no,
maybe
there's been
I'll
multiple
get through it
attempts
now.
to get Ariana to watch it. It's not been successful yet, but we'll get there. We'll get there. So yeah, Luke, give us one last plug.
Yeah, we are discussing that on November the 15th. That's our next script club. Hope you will join us for that. And then we're actually going to be doing really close to Christmas, December the 20th. We're going to be discussing the script for Her, which should be
I love that movie.
very interesting. And we're going to have, we've got some great guests, but they will include ChatGPT, who's going to be one of our guests.
Oh, that's awesome. That's really cool.
And that's going to be tied into the her screenplay.
Yes.
That makes sense.
So that's a very exciting one. I wonder what ChatGPT will have to say for themselves. They got to take some responsibility for it.
And the ChatGPT believes in God now.
Well, somebody managed to convince ChatGPT that there's a God, so why not? Thank you very much, everyone. I really appreciate you guys tuning in. I really appreciate you guys submitting your projects to CenterFrame, to the community, and it was really exciting to see how this whole thing played out. Thank you very much to everyone. Please be sure stick around. If you're not a member yet, please sign up.
Sorry, I do have something to say.
Yes.
We've changed website host. A lot of our emails are going to people's spam folders. So please,
yes,
spam for messages from hello@centerframe.com, or even better, if you can mark hello@centerframe.com as a safe address, so they don't go to spam into your rubbish folders, please.
Yeah, exactly. Basically, as part of our sort of revamp, but as part of our sort of site maintenance, and basically this whole transition to these new memberships, we've had to switch a few services around. But that also means that that our emails to you may end up in your spam. So, like Ariana said, please double check your spam filters and make sure that you, especially hello@CenterFrame, that you make that safe, because everything comes from there. But yeah, if you're not part of the membership, if you're not part of our mailing list yet, definitely sign up to it. Totally worth it. And again, congratulations to all the filmmakers out there. Thank you very much. Have a good one. We will see you next time.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.